Hello, good morning, students of class 11, Commerce. Welcome to Panda Sir's virtual class on statistics. And today we are going to discuss about the functions of statistics, about the importance of statistics, and about the limitations of statistics. First, function of statistics. यानी statistics कौन कौन से फील्ड में किस तरह से अप्लाई होता है वो उसका फंक्शन है. इंपोर्टेंस मतलब वो क्यों जरूरी है, मतलब कौन सा बेहतर चीज करता है, दैट इज इट्स इंपोर्टेंस. एंड लिमिटेशन मतलब कहां कहां स्टैटिस्टिक्स कमजोर पड़ जाता है, दैट मीन्स स्टैटिस्टिक्स कैन नॉट हेल्प अस फॉर बेटर एनालिसिस. सो वन बाय वन वी विल गो. फर्स्ट, फंक्शंस of statistics. Point wise we will discuss. The first point is understanding economic problem. Students, all of you know that what are the economic problem that is faced even by a singular consumer or producer or the economy as a whole. The problems are what to produce, how to produce, for whom to produce, how to use our limited resources to satisfy our unlimited wants, and how to make the best possible choices, because our want is unlimited and resources are limited, so we have to make choice. So how to make the best of the choices. So all these are economic problem, and whenever we deal with an economic problem, what we do is we collect information related to that problem, we analyze that, and after that we come to some conclusion. That is how statistics help us in understanding different economic problems. The next week, presentation of facts in definite form. However, in our next class, we will be discussing about collection of data, presentation of data, and analysis of data. All those things that we have discussed already in the point statistics in its singular sense. Remember, 5 different points was there. So, presentation of fact in a definite form. Facts are always puzzled, are always jumbled, and after collecting, we represent them, we present the facts or information in terms of numbers in a definite form. That is how statistics helps us. Then the third point is condensing mass data. Mass data means a lot of data. 10, 20, 30, 40, 100 pages of data. And what we make of it, we at the same time we cannot make analysis of such a large volume of data. That's why we resort to condensation. To condense data means to squeeze it to a much simpler form, so that at a glance or with minimum effort we can make analysis, its analysis. That is condensation of data. We don't need to, for example, suppose we have our census data. That means 130 crore people are there in India, and we have information related to each and every person. So it's a large volume of data. We cannot go through it at the same time. That's why we need to condense it. Then fourth point is establish relationship between factors. Establish relationship between factors. For example, if I am collecting the data related to height and data related to income, they are never related to each other. That's why establish relationship. That means we need to collect data in such a way that and of such matter or such things that they should be put into in relation to each other and should be able to be compared. Like the income of a person and the expenditure of a person. Income is related to expenditure. Per capita income of an economy and aggregate demand of an economy. We know very well that when per capita income rises, per capita income rises means what? There must be a rise in the GDP so that per capita income rose, and as income rises, we know very well that our consumption also rises, and that leads to an increased aggregate demand for the economy. That is establishing relationship between factors. Then formulation of plans and policy. See, we have established our planning commission in the year 1950, and after that continuously every year they are making short term and long term plans so that we can accelerate the growth and development of our economy. So we need to proper planning, and on what basis we make our plan? For that we need to collect a lot of information, and after that only we can understand the real problem and the real solution, and after finding a reasonable solution we have to implement it. Hence, in policy making and planning we strongly need the help of statistics. Then the last one is evaluation of impact of policy. Okay, we understood the problem, we found out a solution, we implemented certain things in order to solve those problems. After that, what happened? We need to verify its result. That what we found the solution, and after implementation of those solutions, how much success we achieved. For that also we need to collect data and analyze it, and to find that by what percent we achieved the target what we had thought before making the plan and before making the implementation. So these are the functions of statistics. After that we are coming to importance of statistics. Why the study of statistics is important for us? The point we will discuss. First one, statistics in economics. Yes, we have already discussed here. In economics we need strongly the help of statistics, because without statistics we cannot understand the real economic problem and we cannot find a reasonable solution. That's why statistics is quite important in the study of economics. Then statistics in planning. On what basis we are making a plan? Unless we understand the real problem, unless we understand whether what plan and policy we are going to implement would solve the problem, we cannot make a proper plan. That's why, so in order to make a justified plan, in order to make a very effective plan, first we need to collect data and make analysis of it. Then only we can understand the real problem and the real solution. That's why statistics is much important in planning also. Statistics in business. Business, just come to layman's meaning of business. What do we mean by business? Doing some economic activities and earn something out of that, like making a samosa shop, like making a tea stall, so or opening a dairy farm. Okay, suppose I am going to open a dairy farm, then simply I would put money, I would use my money and buy cows and start the dairy business without any information about the market. No. First of all, I have to study the market. What is the actual demand for dairy product in the locality? Because being a perishable good, milk cannot be preserved for a very, very long time. That's why I have to depend upon local market, and I have to study about the demand and about the supply equation of demand and supply in the local market. Then only I can think of the scale of my operation. Scale of operation means that what should be the size of my business, whether 2 cows or 20 cows or 200 cows. For that I need the help of statistics. I have to collect a lot of data regarding the demand and supply. After that only I can conclude and I can come to a solution that what should be my investment and what is going to be the gestation period. You understand, students? Gestation period means when we actually start something, and when it starts giving the result, the in-between period is called gestation period. So in that's why a businessman strongly needs the knowledge of statistics. And the last point is statistics in administration. Administration means the supervision of activities, many type of activities that run a system. So administrators who make a plan and policy and implement them, they need also the help of statistics for proper administration. So this is all about functions and importance of statistics. Now come to limitations. Limitations of statistics means what are the area where statistics becomes null or it cannot be used effectively. The points are, the first point, without reference conclusion may be confusing. Just try to understand the inherent meaning of this statement. That whenever we make some statistical inquiry and we find some conclusion, we need to put reference with that. Unless we put reference, the conclusion may be misleading. For example, I have 3 children and my friend has 2 children. So in average, if we calculate, then we each has 2.5 children. So how we can understand 2.5 children? Result might be misleading. Just yet another example. Suppose we are concluding, we are studying the performance of company A, company B and company C for 3 consecutive years. And what we found is that company A made a profit of 800 rupees in the first year, and in the second year 700 rupees, and in the third year 600 rupees. Company B made a profit of 600 rupees in the first year, then 700 rupees in the second year, and 800 rupees in the third year. And company C made a profit of 700 rupees in the first year, the same 700 rupees in the second year, and the same 700 rupees in the third year. So just try to find the average. The average is equal everywhere, 7,000 rupees per year. But is it true for all the companies? No. The performance of company A is being degraded, going down and down, whereas the company B's performance is getting better and better, and company C is stagnant, not at all any change. So we need to put reference unless the conclusion cannot give us the real sense, the real meaning of our statistical inquiry. So that's why without reference conclusion may be misleading. The second point is, does not study individual information. Just remember the the definition of statistics in its plural sense, that statistics is aggregate of facts. A singular information or singular fact cannot be called statistics. But don't you think a singular information is important? But statistics is silent here. It cannot be used. The third point is, deal with numerical fact only. Numerical fact, something that can only be expressed in terms of a number. But what about traits or qualities like honesty, like sincerity, like punctuality, like satisfaction? We never can put or assign any number to these things. But in actual field, in reality, in real life, these things are very, very important. But statistics cannot help us to analyze these traits like honesty. Then fourth point is true only on an average. True only on an average. That suppose we just collected the data of income, monthly income of 10 people and found the average monthly income of each person to be 1,000 rupees. But it is right up to an average only. It is not at all necessary that all the 10 persons are earning exactly 1,000 rupees. Some might be earning 20,000 rupees. Some might be earning 1 rupees. So there is variations. That's why statistics is only correct up to an average. Needs special expertise. So when we are using statistical methods, we need to have a proper knowledge of that. That means we must be an expert in statistics. Unless we are an expert, we cannot use the various statistical methods. Then homogeneity of data is essential. Homogeneity of data. So whatever data we are collecting, it must be homogeneous. For example, my age and my income. These are two different aspects. They are not homogeneous. That's why I cannot make any conclusion if I am collecting the data of my age and my income. Next, the last point is prone to misuse. Statistics is very prone to misuse. In this context, let me give you one example. How statistics can be misused. केंद्र सरकार ने बिहार सरकार को डेटा मांगा, पूछा कि बिहार में कितना एरिया में मुर्गी का पालन होता है। तो विलेज लेवल से शुरू हुआ, सब हर गांव अपने पंचायत में डेटा पहुंचाया, हर पंचायत अपना तहसील में डेटा पहुंचाया, हर तहसील अपना डिस्ट्रिक्ट में डेटा पहुंचाया, हर डिस्ट्रिक्ट स्टेट अथॉरिटी को डेटा पहुंचाया। तो इसमें हुआ क्या, अब पंचायत वाला बैठ के देख रहा है विलेज ए का एरिया 500 स्क्वायर मीटर है, विलेज बी का एरिया 300 स्क्वायर मीटर है, तो उसका पंचायत में जितने विलेज है सबका एरिया मिला के 3000 स्क्वायर मीटर हुआ। उसको लगा अरे यार इतने कम है, हम तो बदनाम हो जाएंगे, पुट अनदर 0, 3000 30,000 हो गया। अब इस तरह जीरो डलते जब केंद्र सरकार के पास डेटा पहुंचा, तब बिहार में उतना एरिया में मुर्गी का पालन हो रहा था जितना बिहार का क्षेत्रफल नहीं है। Statistics is prone to misuse. So this is all about the functions, importance and the limitation of statistics. Hope you understand. If you are getting any problem, just don't hesitate to call me. Thank you and have a nice day.